Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. So this project now revolves around the fire pit. I started playing a little bit yesterday, and I do have a pretty level base set out with some decorative stone on the bottom base. And then I've just been playing with random boulders and rocks and stuff we've had sitting around. Hopefully I can make something that resembles a bit of a fire pit. But then I've mapped out these yellow lines in the shape of an octagon. What I'm planning to do is use barn beams, actually dig a pocket in the ground and drop them in the ground. And that's going to let me have gravel inside the pit and grass right up to the outside edge. I should have a nice clean line to be able to trim and cut the grass and keep everything tidy, and this should look a heck of a lot cleaner than what it ever did. So stay tuned, let's see what we can do. I picked a couple of beams that I like the size of, and I should have enough of these to do the whole project. And then I just made a miter gauge, we'll call it. That's a cut on a 22.5-degree angle, which is what I need in order to join 8 of these pieces together and make my octagon shape. Each cut will be 22.5 degrees, and it should give us our full 360 going all the way around. So hopefully this is a method that's going to work, but we're going to give it a try and see what happens. I think I'm going to have to do the cutting for the better part of it with the chainsaw. So precision cutting chainsaw seems like a great idea. Let's give it a whack. I've got 2 of them ready. The miters should line up a lot nicer once I go and I actually dig. So I've got my reference lines on each of the stakes at the corner, so I know where those reference marks represent a level line all the way around the pit. So I can base that off of how deep I'll need to go to compensate for the grade changes. Because what I was hoping to do is to have about half the beam exposed, but I've got a difference of, if I remember correctly, I'm about 4.5 inches difference across the pit height. So one side's going to be looking lower than the other side, but what I want to avoid is a really big step up into it. It's okay to me if it's closer to the top edge, but I certainly don't want a full, like that's a 9-inch step up right now, and it's only sitting on the surface. So I'd rather get that down to around the 4.5-inch line, and I think that'll be a little more desirable here. So I've got one more beam that I can cut, and then I'm gonna have to go get a few more and de-nail them again. Once all the nails are pulled, then I can figure out where I'm cutting them, what parts are getting cut off. And I mean, this is just from the first 3 beams, so it's a bit of a task, a bit of a process, but that's how you get it done, one step at a time. I've got the last 5 beams picked out, dragged over here to work on. So now I have to go through and pull all the nails on each beam. That's a task in itself. Got to take off all the extra lumber that's not necessary here. As I'm rolling these things around, I'll keep an eye and try to pick a side that I want to face up. Like example, if this flat on this board here is a nice, no dados or no mortise or tenons cut into it. So it's a good viable piece for that. Both sides of that are pretty decent. This one's got a little bit of, the top edge of this one's pretty nice. So that kind of thing, I have to go through and pick and choose each one. And I've got those 3 in place now. They've all got the miter cut done. And they're very close to fitting just as they should. What I'm realizing now is where I put those stakes in is exactly where the corners need to be. So after I've dug everything and I'm ready to final fit these things, I'm gonna probably have to play a little bit just to get them sitting right. I might have to tweak a little bit with the saw. It's definitely not gonna be 100% perfect, but we'll get close. So I've got lots of work ahead of me. I'll save you the details and I'll start ripping some nails out. Well, that's 8 beams cut now. Everybody's got their miter. So far we're on the right track. It occurred to me as I was setting this up, and I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but those stakes are exactly at the 10-foot mark, which is the width of these posts, or the beams or whatever. So I actually have to pull the posts out, or pull the stakes out in order to get these seated where they need to go. And then I'm going to check fitment and adjust accordingly. I think it's close, but it's a homemade bevel gauge with some old lumber that was floating around, so it was kind of a close enough scenario. And cutting with the chainsaw, you know, it's not perfectly accurate, so you kind of just take the chance and go. But I'm really liking the size of the pit. You know, if you were to set your lawn chair up back here, I think that's a reasonable distance away from that pit. You can get a little further if you go into the corner, so it should be nice. So the idea now is all of this soil and earth gets leveled. We're gonna have to put some kind of landscape fabric down to keep anything from growing up through roots and whatever. Probably gonna have to put a base layer of gravel of some kind, tamp it so it's nice and flat and hard, and then there'll be probably a decorative, like a pea stone or something on top. So this should be a really nice area to sit when it's all done. It'll be much better than sitting in the mud. That was the biggest problem with our old fire pit, was we didn't have anywhere reasonable that, well, I guess we had places to sit, but if it had been raining, you couldn't use the pit. So maybe this will keep some mosquitoes away, and this type of a setup with the wood perimeter gives me a few ideas for future stuff too that we might dive into. I'm gonna play with the positioning a little bit, try to get these better, and once I've got them where I want them, I'll mark the ground one last time with some paint, and then I will start digging. But I don't think I'm gonna dig today because this took a lot out of me already, so I might just get the layout finalized, spray it, and then tomorrow come out here and dig it all up. The only problem now is when I pull those stakes out, I lose my height reference to level. But I could put a string up, I suppose, with a level on it, or I could come back out when it's dark tonight and put some stakes further out. That'd be a smart move, and then I could shoot string across and have a good reference point to look at. Maybe I'll go 4 corners, go all the way around, and I'll figure it out. All right, folks, that's going to be it for this entry. But I will keep you posted with this project, and we will keep on going on this, and hopefully it looks a little better next time you see it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, weekend, whatever the heck it might be, and we'll see you next time around. Cheers.